The learning target specifically for today's lesson was target 3 in the unit, which is I can solve problems related to angles of elevation and depression. And basically, this was the second day on that target. We've already had taken notes on the target, and I had introduced angles of elevation and depression so they knew what they look like, but hadn't had any time yet until today's lesson to practice and try doing them on their own and kind of have a chance to practice.
The essential question lets us know what we're going to be learning every day, and it changes daily unless we're going to be staying on that question more than one day. And the learning targets, we have to master the first target, and after we master all the targets, we'll have a test over it.
She does it to break it down instead of just throwing it all at you at one time. I think it helps students more because then you get to actually get the basics of it, and then at the end of the target, then she'll let you know how you use it in the real world. So yeah, it's a helping tool because students always want to know, why are we doing it? I mean, is it gonna help? And so then at the bottom it shows you that it helps you in the real world. It's usually been harder for me. Like in my middle school years, I didn't make good grades in math. I think now it helps me a lot because of the learning targets and they break it down. We'll get into learning groups. Like first she'll go over the targets and we'll do it step by step, and like whatever target you don't understand after you take the test and she see which one you don't understand, she'll put you in groups based on what you made on your test. Then when we first took our test, if you didn't know it, it wasn't no going back to it. We're going to the next lesson tomorrow. And now it's like if I mess up this time, when I come back to class tomorrow, I'm going to be in groups and I'll learn it and I get to retake my test again.
You're going to be moving depending on how you've told me that you are feeling about these targets, and also based on some of the things that you've turned into me that I've checked, like your exit slips. So based on that, I went through and decided who needed to be with me today to get that extra help. And some of you just wanted some extra time to practice. You don't really need my help necessarily. You just want to practice the skills a few more times before we move on. And some of you are ready for something different completely. So I've got that for you today. What I'm going to need you to do when I call your name, I'm going to tell you where I need you to go. The first group, when I call your name, I'm going to want you to move up here. So if you're not on the list, you can move to somewhere else for now. Once I get everybody situated, I'll come around to each group and let you know what you need to be doing. What I will tell you before you start moving is up here, as you practice today, some of you might need practice on target 1, 2, and 3. And if that's the case, they're all up here on the board. And if you're just in the practice group and you just want to come get your next handout, you can do that. Okay? Just when you get done with target 1 and you feel comfortable on target 1, even if you just did 7 or 8 of them, and you think, okay, I've got it, I know what I'm doing, all right, move on. Go to target 2. When you come up here, check your answers. Your answers are on the very back page. Okay, so when you get up here, definitely check and see. So if you felt like you were doing it right and maybe you weren't, you'll have a chance to go back and correct today before you think you're doing it right and you're not. Okay, so each one of these has an answer key at the very back. If you're in the mastery group for enrichment, your options will be right here, and there's also an answer key attached there at the back of the envelope for those. And I'll talk to each group and let you kind of know where you need to start with that. But just as overall instruction, know that there's an answer key for everything up here. So take the time to check. Don't just do it, but check, make sure you're doing it right, okay? I want you, while I get them going, just to start on target 1. You may not end up having to do all 10 of these before you feel comfortable and ready to move along. Brandon, the main reason you're here is you haven't been here, and I don't really know where you're at with this, so we're going to just kind of see how you feel about it. Take one and pass it. Jordan, same for you. Since you weren't here yesterday, I didn't get your feedback on target 3 anyway, so I thought I'd just touch base with you here. If you get to doing something, you're like, I can do all this, I need the next handout, we'll move on. Okay, so you're kind of going to pace yourself. You're going to switch to P? You think? You sure? Okay, you're going to have to prove it to me. Okay? Okay, you guys should know at this point which ones you've told me you need practice on. A lot of you just need practice on target 3. If you just need practice on target 3, it's at the very bottom, okay? And you can go up there and send, you don't have to do all the handouts, no. I do, if you say you need practice on target 3, I want to see that you've done practice on target 3 today, okay? If you've told me that you need practice on targets 2 or 1, those are also up there. Most of you don't need practice on 1. A lot of you have said you're good with that, but maybe targets 2 and 3 are the ones you want to focus on today, okay? So if you can do those and show me that you've mastered it and you're like, oh, like Cody thinks he needs to be over there, well, he's going to show me that he needs to be over there, and that's fine. So if you feel like you get to that point, you're like, I think I can move on over, then just let me know and we'll move you over, okay? And this will continue tomorrow as well. The first thing this group is going to do, and you guys all can listen to this, the first thing that you all are going to do is choose one of those mastery options. There's two choices. There's an aerospace option and an entertainment option. You pick whichever one. They're very similar type problems, but they are more challenging than the typical Target 3. Okay? So I want you to do one of those at least first. After that, I'm going to want you to start planning a podcast. How many of you have done a podcast at this point? Well, it's not about geometry. Anybody over here? Beth's done one? So you know how? Brent, have you done a podcast yet? Started one on GarageBand, yes. Ashley, have you had a chance to do one yet? What about you two? Have you all done one? Okay. You are going to have to work in groups of 2 or 3, and I can come over here once I get them going. When you get to that point and get you started on that, and we'll spend some more time on that tomorrow as well. But what I would like to see today is one mastery problem complete, correct. Make sure you check your answer and know what you're doing. And then start planning your podcast. Really what you need today, you don't really have to know how to do it today, but you need to come up, create your own real world problem that involves angles of elevation or oppression. Come up with your own story. It can be silly, it can be serious, it can be based on something you're interested in. You can work in groups of 2 or 3 within this big group. Questions? Y'all need to, if you have a question, try to ask within your group. If you still have major questions, try to ask someone that's in a mastery group. Send someone over there, okay, to try to get some help, because I'm going to be needing to stay over here with my learning group.
GarageBand and Keynote, and she's using NeoOffice to create our triangle.
We're going to import slides off of NeoOffice and Keynote to put onto our GarageBand slide.
And email them to me, and I make the podcast on my computer.
The essential question is sometimes it's a challenging question. It always relates to what we're currently studying, and it helps students to understand more in depth, I guess you can say. And then our learning targets is it helps us in studying. She'll give us, for conics, we have 5 learning targets, I believe, and each target is a different section, you can say. So we can check off, well, we can keep up with our progresses.
The targets are really helpful for me because it shows me exactly what's going to be on our test so that I'm really prepared. The targets, when we take notes, she writes out which target is going to cover what part of the section, and it helps break down the chapter so that we don't get lost along the way.
With it being with a summative assessment, they are given that opportunity. If they did not master a target, they're given that opportunity to come back, study that target some more, put some more time with me, and then come back and reassess over the target that they're having trouble with. And in the end, their grades are becoming better grades, and they're getting a better understanding of what they need. They're not just, once they've seen a chapter, saying forget that chapter. They know that now it's not just a chapter. They've got certain things, certain targets that they're wanting to learn about, and that's what I'm assessing them on. And they will say, on target 5, I'm having trouble with, and they will discuss what it is about that target they're having trouble with, and then I can go back, help them with it, and then they can come back and reassess over it.
Well, to me, she does it to break everything down into different sections, so that way she's not doing it all at one speed. She's breaking it down so that way if we are stuck on one thing, she doesn't have to focus on that with everybody. She can break it down, and then each person individually can come back and talk to her and tell her, I don't know about this target, can you help me with this target? And she can work specifically on that target.